Anyway. Hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jules, and I'm designing an entire theme park based on United States folklore and urban legends, and I'm calling it Urban Legends America Theme Park. For today's episode, I am tackling concept work for a nighttime parade. The main theme of this parade is lights. By lights, I mean the floats and the entire structure of the parade will be covered in lights, of course, and have detailing that has lights and reflectiveness and everything that could possibly be a light motif. But also the floats and all the characters and stuff like that are going to have light that I found during my research that are either part of their environment or is actually part of their description. And I'll go into more detail of that as we get into this process and I tell you the story and so on and so forth. But I just want to dive right into this. So with that, let's start drawing the Folklore Festival of Lights parade. Alrighty, let's get this party started. So when I first started this project, I was looking at a few different legends that had some kind of light motif. And by that, I mean stories that either focus on roads, where things like car headlights or street lights play a big role, or creatures and phenomenon that literally glow or give off light, like disembodied orbs or lanterns. I found a handful that really stood out. For example, Mothman, who's often tied to that of headlights and streetlight imagery. The Gordon light, which appears as a mysterious floating lantern or even old train lights. The Fufulays, or will-o'-the-wisps, which are those eerie little balls of fire. And finally, the Flatwoods monster, which I thought worked perfectly with the glowing UFO connection. Plus, the creature itself has this luminous quality. Now, since there could only be one main float in the parade, I sketched out rough concepts for each of these four and had my Patreon members vote. And the winner was the Flatwoods monster. So, in this video, I'll be designing the Flatwoods monster as the main float. But don't worry, I'll also take you along for my vision of the other concepts too. Before we roll back into the bright lights of this grand procession, I want to shine a lantern on the incredible folks who keep this parade moving forward. My amazing Patreon supporters. Your support fuels the floats, keeps the lights on, and helps me conjure up more stories, art, and strange concepts. I can't thank you enough for making this celebration possible. The festival only grows brighter with more guests along the route, and over on my Patreon, you'll find early access, behind-the-scenes sketches, and special treats reserved for those marching along with me. And that includes polls just like this one that decides today's star float. So thank you again, and thank you for considering joining the march as a folklore enthusiast. But for now, let's keep this parade moving and dive back into this concept. The Flatwoods monster is a cryptid reported in Flatwoods, West Virginia in 1952. Witnesses described a tall humanoid figure with a spade-shaped head, glowing eyes, and a metallic plated body, often accompanied by a strange, bright light in the sky. Its sudden appearance and eerie presence makes it an ideal inspiration for a visual, striking parade float. It was just after dark on September 12, 1952, when Edward and Freddie May, along with friends Neil Nully and Tommy Heyer, were playing near Flatwoods Elementary. Suddenly, a bright light streaks across the sky and seems to crash on a nearby hillside. Curious, the boys ran to investigate, stopping at the May home to tell their mother, Kathleen. She called on National Guardsman Eugene Lemon and the family dog Richie to join them. At the site crash, a pulsing red light glowed on the hill. Shining his flashlight upward, Lemon revealed a horrifying sight. a 10-foot tall figure with a spade-shaped head and a dark metallic dress. Its clawed hands twisted unnaturally, its orange eyes glowed, and it hovered above the ground through a sickly mist. With a hiss, it glided towards them, and the group fled in terror. In the days that followed, some suffered throat irritation, nausea, and vomiting, symptoms dismissed as hysteria, though they also matched exposure to mustard gas. For this concept, I wanted the floats to highlight both the environment and the creatures themselves. The main structures, like the UFO and the Flatwoods Monster, serve as the brightest points, carrying the core of the light motif. Around them, smaller lights and reflective details help bring the nighttime parade to life and make the scene sparkle. The central figure will be a large, towering Flatwoods Monster, with its iconic spade-shaped head and glowing red-orange eyes. Its body will feature metallic textures and reflective surfaces, layered with an iridescent organza-like fabric to evoke this otherworldly presence while letting it glow naturally with no real direct spotlight needed. While the creature is clearly the main attraction, the UFO sits at the front as a crash site. Its classic shape keeps it recognizable without distracting from the monster. It will share the same warm glow as the creature, with subtle blinking lights to suggest damage and smaller lights along its edges and along the bottom of the monster's structure help define shapes and details in the dark. For effects, a low-lying fog will spill around the base of the float in the monster itself, giving the impression that it's exuding a mysterious mist. Though the parade will have music overall, I want each float to have its own subtle soundscape. For this float, I imagine a soft fluorescent light humming, punctuated with occasional metallic screeches and distant forest sounds as it passes. Finally, I envision dancers and performers moving alongside and in between the floats. These performers represent the people who encounter these creatures in their stories, each aligned with the float they accompany, adding life, movement, and narrative to the parade as a whole. So, in this case, the performers are actually men in uniform holding flashlights, keeping with the theme of the UFO and the classic government sighting vibe. A small reminder that if you're enjoying this parade of cryptids and lights, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the magical creations coming up. Okay, now that you've seen my vision for the Flatwoods Monster float, I want to quickly give an overview of the other floats that I had in mind without going into quite as much detail. So I had this idea for a Mothman float, and if you're not familiar with Mothman, he is a winged cryptid with glowing red eyes, famously sighted in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, often near roads and bridges. And this is where I kind of got the light motif. And so the float will feature a large dark gray and black and red winged silhouette perched on a broken tree stump with subtle flickering lights along his wings and specifically more the edges to simulate movement. In front of him is a crashed car tangled in the trees, and its remaining headlights shine forward, illuminating the figure. The next idea that I had was for a float for the Gordon Light. And this is a mysterious glowing orb seen near old railroad tracks in Gordon, Arkansas. Folklore says that it's a lantern of a brakeman decapitated in a tragic accident, eternally searching for his head along the tracks. This float is going to be a wrecked train with the ghostly figure standing above holding his lantern. Weathered railroad tracks run along the float's base, with small flickering lanterns lining the edges to echo the brakeman's haunting search, as well as just the remaining light that would be at the front of an older train. The last idea is for the Fufulets, or they're also known as the Will of the Wisps. And these small, mischievous fireball spirits are creatures that float above swamps and marshes, glowing faintly in red, orange, or bluish white, sometimes misleading travelers at night. And these are specifically based in Louisiana. And I wanted this float to be actually smaller compared to the other ones. And it is just a lone tree draped in Spanish moss and paint bottles. And beneath it would be these glowing spheres flickering on thin rods that are able to mimic natural fire movements. Moss, reeds, and low-laying fog give a bayou effect, while tiny lights line the grass and moss, and reflective strands are speckled into the tree and also the grass in itself to simulate more glimmers of light along with it. Together, these floats create a nighttime parade where myth, mystery, and light collide, each one telling its own story while contributing to the larger festival. From the towering Flatwoods monster to the mischievous Fufulets, every float combines environment, creature, and glowing details to immerse viewers in folklore brought to life. With my vision in place, let me tackle the finishing touches, and then I'll show you the final product and share my reflections on this concept. Don't really like this concept. I just don't really like the way that it came out. And hopefully I don't spend too much time talking about how much I don't like it. However, I still think it conveys the idea of this parade. I still like the idea of the parade. I just don't like the way that it translated on paper. I couldn't get it from up here onto the paper the way that I could really see it. I kept trying to fix it, and it just kept coming out muddy, and I just don't think, from where I have it and even some of the edits that I made, I think it's just too much, and I think there's a lot going on, and the composition doesn't really make any sense. I think it cuts off weird. I think I just really struggled with it. Now, on the flip side of all that, I actually really enjoyed the process. I ironically took my time on this, just because lately it's been feeling just kind of rushed on my part. It still felt good to create, and in the grand scheme of this concept in this video, it's okay to have some failures and have pieces of concept work that you're not proud of, while also still putting it out, because I've done it before where I wasn't proud of it and still had some time to save it and try to fix it, but this was not one of those cases. I didn't have time to kind of regroup and start over. But I still think it's important to show pieces that, yes, can convey what your idea is and still really not like it, and still showcase a piece that, might actually be liked by other people. Yeah. I still think it works and it translates well, but I personally think I could improve on some things. Anyway, you should let me know what you think. Let's open up that can of worms. Alrighty, and with that, today's video comes to an end. If you like the music in my videos, I highly suggest that you check out the Absinthetic Orchestra. Their work, along with all of my other stuff as well, will be in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. The Gurdon, which is a mysterious glowing herb. It's hard conveying thoughts of failure. Orb, girl, orb. Jeez. No, art is subjective. People enjoy things and they don't enjoy things. It's fine. The Gordon Light is a mysterious glowing orb seen near old railroad. I am going to absolutely crash out. Because all you do is ramble. That's all I do. That's all. It's a lot of talking. That one was a tough one. Okay. I'm sweating. Let's just end it.